Welcome to Talent Talk and Strategy Stroll, a podcast where we unravel the secrets to unlocking business potential through talent optimization, strategy, and development. I'm your co-host, Mary Stockwell, joined by my remarkable brother, a Hemingway lookalike, and a seasoned strategist and business coach, Tim Stockwell. With over 20 years of global leadership experience across esteemed organizations like Orchard Lake Country Club, Coca-Cola, Cardinal Health, Meritas Advisory Group, and more, I bring expertise in operations, procurement, recruiting, and consulting. My passion lies in developing leaders, building high-performing teams, and optimizing talent in every aspect. Meanwhile, my brother, with 30 years of expertise in HR, real estate, and business coaching, has mastered the art of talent optimization for exceptional results. His extensive background includes notable companies like Merrill Lynch, Sprint, Global One Communications, and he was the co-founder at GS3 and Meritas Advisory Group. Together, we are a dynamic duo of business and talent strategists ready to empower you and your organization. And don't be fooled by our professional pursuits alone. We know how to balance work and play. When I'm not busy strategizing and optimizing talent, you can find me on the golf course, biking along picturesque and glorious Florida beaches, exploring new destinations, or pampering my beloved schnoodles who hold a special place in my heart. While my brother, the Hemingway lookalike, with an undeniable charm, knows how to entertain and enjoy life, whether he's diving into thrilling adventures, entertaining friends and family, embarking on exciting bike rides, or simply reveling in the joys of being a granddude, his zest for life is contagious. From Florida's Gulf Coast, where sun-kissed waves inspire us, join us on this enlightening journey. We'll dive into captivating discussions, exploring talent optimization, high-performance cultures, workforce dynamics, and more, all fused with strategic talent and strategy alignment. So grab a cup of coffee. Yeah. So grab a cup of coffee and sit back and join us as we embark on this talent talk and strategy stroll where business insights, Hemingway charisma, and the art of talent optimization converge. Get ready to unlock your organization's true potential as we bring you engaging discussions, expert interviews, and practical tips to align, optimize, and develop talent within your organization for unprecedented results. You can find us on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast from. If you like us, please share with your friends. Welcome to Talent Talk and Strategy Stroll, the podcast where we navigate the intersection of talent optimization, business strategy, and development with wit, wisdom, and a dash of sibling rivalry. Well, how are you doing today, Tim?
Doing great, Mary. I'm looking forward to our first stroll here.
Our first stroll.
Yeah.
All righty. What do you got going on this week?
Well, this is the big week in Key West. This is the Hemingway week. So
What does that mean?
Well, it's the big contest. All the events culminate in the big contest on Saturday, where they pick the next Papa 2023, the 41st Hemingway lookalike contest takes place here all week long, primarily at Sloppy Joe's, but we have a lot of other sites that we do things at, and there will be somewhere between 140 and 160 fellas with white beards and white hair show up to compete for the grand title of Papa.
So are you competing?
I am competing. This will be my 4th year competing. I've made it to the finals each year. I'm hoping this year to make it to the top 5. We'll see. We'll know in a few days.
I love that for you. So is it part of the Hemingway Society, and what do they stand for and what do they do?
Well, the Hemingway Society is been in operation, if you want to say it that way, through the beneficiary of Sloppy Joe's and the Hemingway family for many years. We raised money for scholarships here in the Florida Keys. As you know, I live in Key West. And it's a big deal here in Key West for the Hemingway Days. We raise a lot of money and give away a lot of money in the form of scholarships for nurses, writers, first responders, and other very interesting charitable organizations that affect the Florida life in the Florida Keys. So we've raised millions of dollars, and we give out nearly 100,000 every year. So it's a great deal.
And does the contest always take place in Key West? And is that because Hemingway was such a great part of the history of Key West?
Yeah, it is. And it always is around his birthday, which is July 21st. So it's somewhere 3 or 4 days around that time frame. And it's a big time. There are a lot of people come to Key West for this. In fact, of the 40 to 150 guys, 140 to 160 guys will be here, there'll be many from other parts of the world. We've had people from New Zealand and Australia, Mexico, South America. I mean, England, Scotland, they come from all over to participate, to be named Papa.
Well, that's so exciting.
It is. It's a great
Very
time.
happy
Great
for
time in
you.
Key West.
Hope everybody has a safe and wonderful time.
Thank you, Mayor. And you? What have you been doing?
Well, I woke up today to a downed tree limb in my yard, which is kind of blocking my my driveway. So I'm recording here today in my home office. And a little bit of shaken, but not stirred.
Good. I know you'll get out there with a chainsaw and get that taken care of.
Oh, you bet I will.
Yeah. So here we are. We're here to talk about talent strategy and how do you really organize that? So Mayor, go back a little bit in time and give folks the history of how we're here. How did we get here?
Well, Tim and I have always really had a desire to somehow be able to work together in some type of capacity. Well, in 2019, that kind of converged where we had the opportunity to join forces and bring our skill sets, our complementary skill sets together to form Meritas Advisory Group. With that being said, we've brought in a lot of tools and techniques and people to help our business grow. One of the very first things we did was to become a certified predictive index partner and become certified talent optimization consultants. So our business has evolved since then. We've helped countless companies in a variety of capacities, including, of course, talent optimization, business strategy, recruiting, business coaching. We've really had a lot of fun. How do you feel about that, Tim?
Well, I think, I think those discussions we've had over the years really did pay off in the way that we kind of approached what we originally thought would be our company, focusing on recruiting. But I think, as we got into that, we realized that we needed to back up within the organization further up the line to understand better, why are they recruiting for this role? What's the real job description? What are they trying to define the kind of person they wanted? And we found that most companies have not great job description building processes. So we got into that. We did expand into talent optimization so we could help people understand the behavioral tendencies of the people that they were going to be recruiting and interviewing. And I think that has contributed to a lot to our success, is our ability to be able to recognize what's going on within the organization and help them build the tools and the confidence to be able to pursue their business in a different way than they would have ever thought of before. And so now we're able to both consult with them and coach with them. Don't you find that really rewarding, being able to consult and coach? You really build a great friendship with our clients. And I think that shines through with you in the way that you approach things.
Well, thank you. That's really a high-end compliment. I appreciate it. I do. Again, starting out with recruiting, it is a part of our business today, and it's a lucrative part of our business. Yet for me, where I'm finding the passion really is building teams through their hiring process, designing teams to align with an organization's strategy, inspiring leaders to grow and develop. In fact, we have a leadership at scale program, and through employee engagement, which is through the Predictive Index. We have an amazing tool that does employee engagement surveys. We've had tremendous success with that, with immediate actionable items. So it's, and of course, it's all customized and it's all designed specifically for a client or a team within that organization. And being able to see those organizations grow and light bulbs turn on, it's just so gratifying.
Yeah, I agree. I especially love when we do the team design, and we have the leaders that we put the leadership team on a map, if you will, and then we overlay that with the strategies that they've described to us that they want to do, and the realization when they see that they don't really have the people that have the natural tendencies to perform most of the business objectives that they have, it really is eye-opening for them. And then they say, well, how do we round out our team to support the kind of effort that we're doing? And as we like to say, our goal is to help them take their business strategy and accelerate to the results. So building a strong team in a way that helps them identify, how do you do that? How do you create that methodology? And it's so eye-opening when we do that overlay, and it takes minutes, right? It takes just minutes to be able to put this together for them.
Yeah, then we ask questions like, who's in the room, who's in the building, and who's on the street that would be able to, really accelerate these results.
Yeah, it is very rewarding to be able to see. So what in your background, Mayor, led you specifically down this path? What was the genesis for your process, your pathway?
I've had the privilege of creating 4 global teams from the ground up. This is including hiring, team design, inspiring, and employee engagement. 2 of the teams were in a matrix organization with multiple internal stakeholders and locations. The impact was, our goals were exceeded year over year, and each team member was exposed to opportunities to learn and grow in an accelerated manner. So those are some real success stories that I've had in my career that now we're able to take that to our clients and show them how to do that as well. Yeah, and I think that really shows up, Mary. You really bring that experience and expertise to it. Mine started, and I've had a lot of years of experience in international real estate and HR work, but where mine started was I was asked by a US company to go to what was going to become a joint venture and spend time with the joint venture partners, one in Paris and one in Bonn, Germany. And my exposure to helping them identify the right people within their organizations to be able to be contributed to this joint venture, I recognized how differently talent is recognized and appreciated and grown in foreign countries. And it's a different approach. And so it creates a mindset different than what you might find as a typical American mindset. So it expanded my ability to appreciate the differences in how people approach things. And I think that was really the precursor to me being so excited about using the predictive index tools. It gave us these tools in a scientific way that we could use, but yet very easily explained and very useful, user-friendly ways that these tools are put together, backed by 60 some years of scientific exposure, I think, the predictive index. So it's a brilliant tool, and it helped reinforce those early experiences I had with a lot of foreign companies and the way that they put together their teams. And so I think this enhances it now and gives us the ability to put those tools directly in the hands of our clients to use and run with. I love that. And I think too, with your global experience, as with mine, you were able to quickly define cultures and how things are done in different cultures, what great looks like and what it doesn't look like.
Yeah, and how to nurture. See that, and that's
How to
that's the thing that you learn dealing internationally, right? Is how do you nurture? How do you create a level of patience to accept ideas and notions and ways of approaching things different than what would typically be the American way? That's not, I'm not saying that those ways are bad. It's as you experience these different ways, it just gives you a more well-rounded ability to view things. And I also think that again is reinforced by the tools that we provide for our clients and our coaching. We coach them in a completely different way, I believe, that is really very helpful and eye-opening for them. So I think that's what's contributed to our success.
That's
Plus, of
excellent.
course, our sibling rivalry really helps them too. So
Yeah, because they get to see that full exposure, don't they?
yes, they do. I love to make fun of myself, and I think that puts a lot of people at ease. And then, you're right there quickly at doing similar things, but also creating the discipline that I clearly don't have to be able to get things done. So
It really is a brilliant counterbalance of each other. Which is interesting because as we were growing up, I always thought I was a lot like you. And lo and behold, when we got the predictive index results from the first time we took the assessment, we're not alike at all.
not at all.
And I think what you can see by our patterns is that we're actually complementary, but very different. We might arrive at the same conclusion of something, but in very different ways.
Yeah. I think that, and that causes some issues, and I think sometimes not issues, but it causes a unique way for our client to see us work together. Right? Because I like to talk things out. I like, well, that's a great idea. Let's talk about where that might go and how it might go and how we could implement that differently. And I think you are more of a direct line kind of approach to things, and I think that's well, we get to laugh about it a lot. So
yeah, maybe not right away, but we do get to.
excuse me, yeah, true, not right away.
Hey, Tim, in your opinion, what sets our approach different? What sets it apart from other business and talent strategists in the industry today? I mean, what makes us as an organization stand out? Because there's so many great counterparts that we have. What differentiates us?
I really do think it's the approach. It's the approach and the unique way that we help them implement the tools that we can provide. And then the ongoing coaching, which is really, very different than consulting. And I think that is the difference. A lot of the folks that we see out in the marketplace are consultants. And while it has its place and it has its unique advantages, we consult as well. But I find that when you're able to create a relationship with your client and be able to have a level of respect for each other that allows us to coach them through what they don't know or don't see, that if we could help make that present to them would make all the difference in the world to their way they run their business. So I think that's a very unique way that we approach it. We bring our experiences to help them achieve what they want in a fairly rapid way, but with humor and good guidance. And I think that's important. Rather than, we don't always have all the answers. We just kind of know the directional questions to ask that opens them up to the possibilities of where they might be able to make some changes.
I think you're spot on there, Tim. I think there's another thing too, and equally as important, I think, is something that makes us stand out is our heritage, our ancestry. We have a saying that that we use quite often: our roots run deep and our branches are strong.
Mm-hmm.
We get that honestly. We talk about our roots run deep. Our parents and our grandparents were all entrepreneurs in a sense. The women in our family, our grandmothers and our mother, were really extraordinarily resilient badass women right from the start. I mean, right? I mean, they
Absolutely.
overcame so many obstacles to succeed, and
Mhm.
they were resilient. They were able to bounce back. They were able to pivot. They were able to provide for their families
Mhm.
and at times when it was really unheard of
Yeah,
for women to be the breadwinners of a family. Now, granted,
absolutely.
in our cases, this was all out of necessity. But what we learned from our mother in particular, she was an extraordinary real estate salesperson in a time when there really weren't any other women.
Mhm.
I can personally relate to that from my procurement career, when oftentimes I was the only woman in the room. But what I did also learn from my mother is the way that she developed and mentored others.
Mhm.
And she took the recipe that she had for herself, instilled it in others to bring others up along to be equally as successful. Do you think that is something that kind of sets us apart, our innate um, resilient nature?
I think so, because we had so many good examples, of how you're able to just be persistent and persevere through some very challenging times, and not be afraid to take chances. All of the women in our lives, including you and my other sisters, and our children are out there all day long. I mean, looking for opportunities and listening for what they could do to contribute. And I do think that comes from those experiences and understandings. I always amazed that our grandfather was born in 1876. I mean, you talk about bridging a lot of history and challenges. He was born in a little town in Belgium, and after World War I, he decided to make his way in the United States and Canada, and he just got up and left. And fortunately for us, he kept writing back home to the woman he was dating, and reliving all of these great adventures. And they thought it sounded awful in this godforsaken place in the middle of the United States. And except for our grandmother, who was quite a bit younger than Grandpa. She was 20 years younger. She thought it was fascinating. She couldn't wait to come. So when he wanted to come back and he wanted one of the sisters to marry him, if she wouldn't do it, I'm not going there. Grandma said, I'll do it. I'll go. So right away, just jumped right into, a situation that most people probably wouldn't contemplate. But she did it, and lived a great life. Started her businesses, and just lived a wonderful life, and raised good daughters that were strong. And yeah, so we've come from a long line of very strong women. So for me, that shows up when I'm recruiting. I can appreciate strong women with great ideas, because we've come from that. We've kind of grown up with that. So it's an area for me that I really appreciate, the fact that we can look to and promote strong women into great executive roles.
And I think too, when you think about our PI champions within our clients, there are a
Mhm.
lot of good, strong women
Oh, yeah.
that are PI champions within their organization,
Yeah.
and have become certified talent optimization leaders, in their own right,
Yeah.
and how we're able to work with them and help them grow as individuals in their career, and to help them set their organizations up for success.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think
I think we really pride ourselves on the fact that, we are a diversity-based company. So we don't back away from that. I mean, even though I'm an old white guy, we take that head on, and just, we can help people through it from the perspective that we bring to the table.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Tim, how do you infuse fun and enjoyment into your work as a strategist and in our podcast discussions? And how does that contribute to the success of our clients?
Well, sometimes I go a circuitous route. I and it all starts with humor, I think, with stories and humor about something that might be similar, that resonates with our client, that we've experienced. And and help them maneuver through what might be in front of them a really significant challenge. And so I think we do it with great humor and with the experience, and sort of challenge them maybe in a Socratic method. Just ask a lot of probing questions and see where that ends up, and if some of those routes might be great roads to travel with them. And I think that again, it exposes them to a different way of thinking and ways that they could implement with speed that'll make a significant difference in the way that their business is running, and therefore profitability. So whether it's recruiting for the right person, making sure that job is accurately described. That's one of the things I found with almost all of our clients, Maren. I think that's universal, is the job description writing process is not good. Right. So we step right in and we help them with that methodology. Is let's make sure we understand the real role of the individual you're trying to recruit for. And then how do they fit into the team? Do you agree? You think that's a route we can go?
Oh,
ahead, go on.
absolutely. I think that is the route that we go. And I think with some of the predictive index tools, we're allowed to create job ads that
Mhm.
that attract the right type of candidate to the role. So
That's right.
when you think about it that way, we can eliminate several weeks of the job search by pinpointing, the type of talent that the client needs. And
Yeah.
we also teach them how to do that.
That's right.
So, we teach them how to fish as well, which is part of great coaching, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. I think we approach it from that coaching perspective and not necessarily from a consultant perspective. And sometime in one of the other podcasts we do, maybe we can go into a little bit more detail about how we see the difference between consulting and coaching. I think that'd be a good topic for us, and have some consultants and some coaches on as guests.
Yeah,
Because I am looking forward to some of the guests that we're going to have on.
for sure. Me too.
If you could go back in time and know what you know now, but back then, what would you do different? as you
Go how
approach
far
this?
back in time?
Well, whatever. It's just to help, understand the process that we've taken from a talent optimization perspective. Would you do anything different?
That's a really good question. I think we would get out to client sites a little more often than we have. Of course, I say that in truth, but yet COVID played a large role in
Oh, yeah.
us not being able to do that. But we do know that our clients love to have us on site. We like to be on site. We can accelerate some results that way. At the same time, we have great virtual tools too,
Absolutely.
right? So I think from a company standpoint, what might have been done different is to not put the cart before the horse, and have some really strong processes in place, particularly as we onboard new employees.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What
But
would
I
you
think
do
that's helpful too for our clients, don't you? That we've gone through this route, and we've kind of been down this road. We were
Yeah.
born during the COVID era, right? We didn't
For
have to
sure.
learn to adapt so much because that's kind of when we were putting it
Yeah,
all
we were
together.
virtual.
So, yeah.
Exactly. I like that.
And while I have a face for radio, I had to learn to do virtual.
I hear you.
And of course, my technical skills are not quite as good as yours and some of the other members of the team. So I generally lag behind from that perspective. But it's a lot of great tools that we bring to the table to help our clients accelerate where they want to go and why. And I think that as we continue our success, we'll be able to share that with our listeners.
Great. Do you have any other questions that you want to ask me today?
I thought this was a good session, man. I really appreciate it. I'm certainly looking forward to our next stroll. And maybe I'll have my shoes off and truly walking on the beach one of these mornings to do it.
Excellent. Well, we all wish you well in the Hemingway Lookalike contest.
Thank you, Mayor.
We'll keep people, informed and up to date. So maybe the next time we'll start off talking a little bit about it.
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So today's episode of Talent Talk and Strategy Stroll is sponsored by our Meritas Leadership Academy. We offer a range of programs designed to develop, enhance various leadership skills. Here are some of the programs that contribute to our Leadership Academy. Leadership development programs, including Leadership at Scale, executive coaching, team building and collaboration workshops, innovation and change management, global leadership and cultural intelligence, and networking and mentoring opportunities. Tim and I are both really great mentors. We love incorporating that into all that we do with our clients. And we have a formalized program around that for new leaders.
Mhm.
So thank you for your time today. And our inaugural episode 1 of the Talent Talk and Strategy Stroll podcast, navigating the intersection of talent and business strategy with wit, wisdom, and a dash of sibling rivalry. Take care and have a day filled with sunshine. We'll
Great, Mayor.
talk soon.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Next time.
You
Bye-bye.
bet.